Hey people, it is Wednesday, July 31st, 4:38 p.m. is the time, and the temperature is a rather scorching 30 degrees Celsius as I trip over my words. And that was a 509 Harborfront streetcar that I was just on. An absolutely jam-packed 509 Harborfront streetcar as it's pulling double duty, replacing the operations of the 510 Spadina streetcar along Queens Quay here. And the plan was to get off at Lower Spadina, but the streetcar was so packed and I don't really have anywhere particular to be, but recording a video, I decided to get off, which hopefully made room for someone to get on. And on that note, there were a few people in my area who had bags on their seats, or on the seats next to them, on an absolutely packed streetcar. That is the height of being selfish and inconsiderate in my books. And there were people doing that on a jam-packed subway as well. Don't be a jerk, only use up one seat. And there's the financial district. But for this one, we're heading over to Lower Spadina and Spadina. As of Monday, the city has installed a dedicated bus lane on part of Spadina. And what's happened is, starting on June 23rd, Spadina streetcars have been replaced by buses until sometime in December. And that's apparently to accommodate critical track work. So the TTC took out a very popular streetcar line and replaced it with buses. And that ended up being a bit of a disaster, especially during rush hour. And there are a number of videos online showing that people could walk the route much faster than taking the streetcar. So to help mitigate that, the TTC amended the route. And rather than having buses go all the way south down to Queens Quay, they were looping on Front Street and Lakeshore. And that went into effect a few weeks ago. And that still didn't work out well, so what they ended up doing was putting in a dedicated bus lane. So we're gonna go see how that's working out. I have a feeling we might see more than a few non-buses in that bus lane. Toronto drivers aren't particularly good at following the rules or being where they're supposed to be. And the police seem more occupied with giving cyclists tickets for slowly rolling through stop signs. Than doing any actual traffic enforcement. So the next stop will be Lower Spadina. I didn't realize it was so hot today. I've been a bit under the weather. Kind of bogged down with a headache and just generally not feeling that great. So I was at home in my air conditioning, watching Olympics. I picked a rather hot time of day to get out. But normally the 510 Spadina streetcar would go from Spadina Station south down to Queens Quay, and then it would head east over to Union Station. But since that streetcar is out of service, apparently the TTC has increased frequency of the 509 Harbourfront. Although there was an enormous lineup of people to get on it. I was kind of hoping to do a video featuring riding the 509, but it was so cramped it wasn't very comfortable to record in that space. So that's why I didn't start rolling the camera until I got off. Just wait for these cyclists to go by. Oh, there's someone on a recumbent. So it is 4:44, so we should be at the start of the afternoon rush hour. And it's worth noting the buses aren't using the dedicated streetcar right away. That's one of the reasons they've had to implement this bus-only lane. And apparently this transit priority lane operates southbound on Spadina between Richmond Street and Lakeshore at all times of the day. And that's probably because that route backs up quite a bit with cars waiting to get onto the Gardner. So I should probably be on the other side of the street here. Things aren't so bad right now. I'll wait for the next light cycle, then we'll cross over. There goes 510 beginning its journey up to Spadina Station. I was trying to time this walk to match the afternoon rush hour. I might have come a little bit too early to catch things at their hairiest. highway here is the Gardner Expressway. And the Spadina streetcar started back in 1997, and that replaced the 77 Spadina bus that came before it. And along with that streetcar line came this dedicated right-of-way down the center. And we'll see if we can spot any actual work taking place on it. Center Francophone. My French is absolutely atrocious. I think we've spent more time waiting at this intersection than actually walking. So this lineup of cars waiting to get on the Gardner can back up all the way into Chinatown on some days. Oh, there's a sign indicating this lane on the right is for buses and bikes. I think the total cost, including installing and uninstalling the lane, as well as the lost revenue from traffic or street parking, is going to be somewhere around $250,000 in total. Most drivers are keeping out of it. I think this bus honked at this motorcycle. This Mitsubishi following the bus. Let's see where the bus goes here. Is it going to make a right? It is, and it's gonna loop around and end up back over there where those other buses are. Considering how many people a single bus carries versus one or two people in these cars, if you think this is ridiculous, well, just consider how many people are being inconvenienced versus those in cars. There's a traffic cop just up ahead. One thing they do on some routes in New York is they have cameras on the front of buses that the MTA installed, and they can ticket offenders for driving where they're not supposed to be. Let's see if this BMW stays out. I wonder if they see a guy with a camera and decide not to. Looks like that sign has had a little smashy smash on it. All right, and this is Port York Boulevard. There you can see the lone traffic cop. And what is very clearly a solid line. Ideally, they would paint the lane, I said rain, red, just to make it more obvious that you're not supposed to be driving in it. There's a couple of buses. So this Jeep should be turning right. So we'll see how far up this lane goes, but I believe it goes up to Richmond.
I'm like, is it because you're at 420?
As we cross over a rail corridor. Union Station is just off to the east of here. There goes a GO train, whisking suburbanites back to their home. We just missed a motorcycle crossing over into this lane. There's a guy standing there. I wonder if he's doing anything or if he's just a human pylon. All right, we are approaching the well. Someone's horn happy. Effective June 23rd, the 510B and the 310, its nighttime counterpart. Just waiting to see these buses depart and hop into their dedicated lane over on the other side. I wonder how many times they get held up by turning vehicles like this. All right, let's see how this unfolds. It looks like that car might be able to get out of the way. Nope, one selfish driver in the Mercedes holding everyone up. And now this bus is going to end up blocking any through traffic. I think ideally the TTC would have worked a way out to have the buses run on the right-of-way, at least through this part of the day, and do all their work on the tracks during the off hours. There's a truck driver who must think he's driving a bus. Although that is a hash line. See what this sign says. Nothing. So it's easy to see where some of these drivers are coming from. There is a dotted line there. But here it's a solid line.
You don't have to warn the next day.
Again, I think this is where painting the areas that are prohibited for non-buses red would have been advantageous, just to be a little more consistent with busways in other parts of the city, and to make it a little more obvious for people who are caught off guard. This is Wellington we're crossing. Where are you going, buddy? That might explain how a lot of these cars got stuck in that right lane. I don't really blame that Tesla driver. He'd have been there all day if he didn't pull out into traffic. Same for this guy in the Malibu. Also, you're always supposed to turn into the lane that you turned from, so it makes sense to stick to the lane furthest to the right when you're pulling out. Yikes. This is King Street. It doesn't seem to be super congested this afternoon. There's a tale as old as time. Cars entering an intersection they can't clear. And I don't believe they gave buses signal priority on this stretch. I don't regularly take this route, but it seems to be working fairly well. Pigeon, get out of the way! It did. All right, this is Adelaide Street. You can see how if you were turning right here, your instincts would be just to pull all the way to the right, and all you have to tell you not to is this solid line. I don't see any signs or markings. Otherwise, I don't really know what kind of sign you'd put up. Caution, please don't follow your instincts. Turn wide. This is the end. So this was identified as the problem area, which would have been the most congested. It's worth noting Toronto's streetcar network is very fractured at the moment. King streetcar is diverted, the Queen streetcar has a significant diversion. St. Clair just reopened. Spadina isn't running properly, and that takes out some service on Queens Quay as well. And Spadina is one of the few streetcar lines with a dedicated right-of-way, so this is kind of a major blow to getting around the city efficiently. But we'll just pop up to Queen and Spadina, and I think I'll sign off from recording this. I hope you enjoyed this look at the new dedicated transit priority lanes. Running along Spadina, south of Richmond Street. There's looking to Graffiti Alley. I wonder if the backside of the new Ontario line station going in will become a part of Graffiti Alley. This intersection is set to be a major, or a somewhat major, transit interchange with the Spadina line and the Ontario line and the Queen streetcar all being serviced right here. There's a look at what some would call a rather sketch McDonald's. I'm going to debate doing a live stream. I'm already out and about, but weather-wise, it's pretty gross. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support what I do, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I have an Instagram account at Johnny Strides, and there is a super thanks button appearing down below if you wish to say thanks that way, as we get a look at the CN Tower. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Yoink.